If there's one thing that I absolutely enjoy in life, besides just making cringe and making myself suffer, I usually like to pop in a good old RPG to pass the time. But however, there's just some things that slightly irritate me. One of them being RPG death scenes. Now I know some of you might be thinking, but Jay, why do you have problem with death scenes? Well, you see, in any good old RPG, they usually bless you with a magical item called a revive item. Examples being the Phoenix Down from the Final Fantasy series, or Bravely Default, or Life Bomb from Correction, Revival Beads from SMT and Persona. Also, life magic exists in these games. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure some of you know exactly where I'm going with this argument. And if not, I'll spell it out for you loud and clear. Why do they never use the items? I mean, seriously, am I the only one who gets annoyed by this? Every time when a character is about to die, or is going to die, they never think to themselves, why don't they just reach into the bag and give them a potion? Or, better yet, why don't they just use the life magic that they learned throughout the game? It's like they pretend like these items just don't exist. Or, worst case scenario, they just somehow magically forget how healing magic works. But Jay, if they use the revival items, then they won't be able to have the death scene. Yeah, and I agree with you, but that doesn't make it less stupid. I mean, seriously, if you saw somebody being critically injured, would you just stand there and do nothing? No, you'd probably call the police or try to tend to their wounds, not stand there like a statue. And that's what most of these death scenes feel like. I feel like half the death scenes that happen most of the time could be easily prevented if they try and do something instead of, standing there like a statue. So please, I like to indulge you in some of the death scenes that personally annoy me. Oh yeah, spoiler alert ahead. The main objective of Chapter 2 was to find Anius' old friend. Why do you need to do this? So you can awaken the water crystal. But unfortunately for this team, they have to go up against the unbeatable duo. I say this because it's one of another thing that I usually don't like in RPGs. That's a topic for another day. Let's just say I don't like bosses that basically waste all your time and resources. Scripted boss fights. So to make a long story short, they kill off Olivia.
I leave my duties to you. Awaken the water crystal. I can't. I need you, Olivia. I can't do this alone. I can't do this. You can. You will. I know. You can. Only you. Only. Olivia! Open your eyes!
Now I know this comment is gonna come off as very insensitive, but am I the only one who thought to themselves, why didn't they just use white magic? And trust me, this is not the only time this happens in the series. And I know someone's gonna come in the comments being like, but Jay, this is supposed to be a very emotional scene. Yeah, I get that, but am I the only one who feel that this type of stuff just feels straight up inconsistent? But am I truly supposed to believe that they just didn't think to themselves, why don't I just use like a potion or a Phoenix Down for this situation? I could rant about this scene all day, but I still have more examples to go through. Let's just say that this could have easily been avoided, is what I would say, but there's a worse offender that comes after this. After Gladys realized that all the Salem witch trials were nothing more than a farce to get rid of people they don't like, and being a distraction so that they can get the Holograd army to get there, Gladys decides to fight for her homeland, regardless of how she is seen. And since Gladys was a part of said witch trials, you could imagine that someone would try to backstab her, figuratively and literally. After Helio gives out his whole anime speech, Gladys knocks Helio over so that she can get the fire crystal. And trust me, if you thought the Olivia death scene was dumb, this is even more dumber.
Gladys!
What have I gun.
A surgeon! Quickly!
There's no need. I'm beyond saving.
Are you retarded?
Here. The fire crystal! You got it back for us. That's what you were looking for?
Cool, mission solved. So are we gonna give her a potion or something?
Good. Gladys. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop Helia from escaping.
You have nothing to apologize for, child.
Padre Gian. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Gladys of Rheimdall, you have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Sacrifice my This is the most preventable death scene in all of history. None of the main four at no point ever thought to themselves, why don't I just switch into White Mage to heal up Gladys so that she won't bleed to death. Not to mention, in both games, the first class that you learn is White Mage. So what is their excuse? And again, why is no one not using the items? It's like somebody has a gun to their head saying, you better not use those revival items or you're gonna be next on the chopping block. I mean, it's freezing weather out there. And don't even give me that bull malarkey that, she says she was beyond saving. Yes, she is beyond saving in a world where white magic is at its peak. So peak, in fact, they can basically revive anything from the dead. I'm sorry, am I supposed to believe that's not effective?
And for that, your people give you thanks.
You're a fucking idiot.
Another thing about these death scenes that I don't feel nothing at all for these types of scenes. And this might just be a me thing, but every time when a game has the concept of revival items or life magic, it always seems weird to me how no one ever thinks to use it. Like, I get it. It's a video game. They're not going to take into consideration every single possibility. But at the same time, you're telling me in a world where they have magic, they don't think to use the magic, even magic that can bring people back from the dead. It just feels very immersion breaking for me. Now, I'm not saying it's so immersion breaking that, this game is garbage and it's terrible, 0 out of 10. It's just that it's a weird hiccup that I notice in most RPGs. And I get it, they're supposed to be sad. It's supposed to be a very depressing moment, a turning point for the characters to develop. But at the same time, am I the only one who thinks that it's easily avoidable if they just use the items or use the white mage magic that they've been learning throughout the game? I'm not saying make them Einstein or a next prophet. All I'm asking is that they just use common sense. Is that too much to ask? At least try using the stuff before being like, whoops, there's nothing we can do. Although there is more examples that I could go through, like Octopath Traveler 2, both versions of SMT5, Persona 3, the Valkyria series. I can go on forever, but it would practically be me sounding like a broken record. And as much as I would like to just rag on a lot of these dumb death scenes, I understand why it happens. Simple answer being ludonarrative dissonance. I know for a fact that the game does not take into consideration the gameplay side over the story side, so it makes sense. But if you knew the answer, then why are you making the video? Believe it or not, this is one of my few original ideas that I was planning on doing for this channel, talking about how RPG death scenes just straight up don't make any sense. Although the true original idea was how RPGs just didn't make any sense when it comes to like scripted boss fights and other stuff. But I'm pretty sure you get what I mean. At the end of the day, I understand that these scenes exist for a reason. But at the same time, it still doesn't make it less stupid. At least in my opinion. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the two examples that I showed in this video might not be the dumbest death scenes. Maybe there's other death scenes that just straight up don't make any sense to you. Why don't you leave it down in the comments section. Anyway, that's it for my video. Catch you on the flip side.